There are moments in life that look small from the outside, but inside you, they explode like fireworks. The email arrived on an ordinary morning. I was seated at my desk, the familiar hum of office life surrounding me, phones ringing, keyboards clicking, footsteps passing behind my chair. I almost ignored the notification. Almost. When I opened it, my hands began to tremble. The contract had been approved. Not partially, not conditionally, approved. I leaned back in my chair, pressing my palm against my chest as if to steady my heart. This wasn't just a professional milestone. This was security. This was proof that all the late nights, all the swallowed frustrations, all the times I had worked twice as hard just to be taken seriously, had meant something. I thought of my daughter, her laughter, her future. I thought of my home. I thought of my husband. I smiled. I couldn't wait to tell him. That evening, I walked into our home lighter than air. The door closed behind me with a soft click, and for a moment, everything felt right. I removed my shoes, my heart racing ahead of my words, and told him the news, my voice bubbling with excitement, hope spilling freely from my lips. I expected him to smile, maybe tease me the way he used to, maybe pull me into a hug and say, "I knew you could do it." But he didn't. He just looked at me. Too long. Too quietly. At first, I thought he hadn't heard me properly. I repeated myself, slower this time. Still nothing. The silence stretched between us, thick and uncomfortable, like air that refused to move. Finally, he nodded once and said, "Okay, that was it. No congratulations, no questions, no warmth." And without realizing it, something shifted in that room. That night, as we lay in bed, his body felt unfamiliar beside mine. I stared at the ceiling, tracing invisible cracks in the darkness, trying to convince myself I was imagining things. After all, he had always been a traditional man, protective, reserved. Maybe this was just adjustment, I told myself. Maybe he needed time. But the silence between us wasn't peaceful. It was heavy. In the days that followed, he became someone I didn't recognize. His warmth faded. His laughter disappeared. Every small thing annoyed him. When people congratulated me, his jaw tightened. When my phone buzzed with work calls, his eyes darkened. Then came the words, sharp, sarcastic, carefully disguised as jokes. "So now you're the man of the house? Hope money won't forget your husband. Women with money don't respect their men." I tried to reassure him. I told him I was still the same woman, that I still loved him, that I still supported him. But something had already changed, his ego, and it was slowly poisoning everything we had built. The worst day of my life began like any other. I dressed our daughter for school, adjusted her uniform, kissed her forehead like I always did. I was already dressed for work when my husband said he would take her himself. It wasn't strange, he had done it before. An hour passed, then 2. My phone rang. It was the school. "Madam," the voice said carefully, "your daughter hasn't arrived yet." My heart dropped. I called my husband. No answer. Again, and again, and again. Nothing. Panic wrapped around my chest like a tightening rope. I rushed home. The house was empty. My daughter's school bag was still there. And in that moment, the world tilted. Something was terribly wrong. Hours later, my phone rang. It was him. His voice was calm. Too calm. "If you want to see your daughter again," he said, "you'll resign that contract." My body went cold. A woman has no business earning more than her husband. I screamed. I begged. I broke. I couldn't believe the man I shared a bed with could do this to his own child just to protect his wounded pride. I reported to the police immediately. The next 48 hours felt like 48 years. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't breathe properly. Then, by God's grace and police intelligence, they found her. She was alive, shaken, crying, calling for her mummy. When I saw her, I collapsed. My husband was arrested that same day. In court, he spoke of tradition, of respect, of pride. The judge listened and then spoke justice. 3 years in prison for kidnapping. Today, my daughter is safe. I am healing slowly. The contract still stands, but my heart is heavy. Because the person who put my child in danger was not a stranger. It was her father. It was my husband. And now, at night, I sit alone with questions I never imagined I would ask. Can a marriage survive betrayal like this? Should I wait for him, for the sake of a child he once endangered? And what would you do if you were standing in my shoes?